Today's episode of King Talk is brought to you by One of 100, exclusive clientele, custom apparel. Welcome to King Talk, man. Today is a special episode, man. We got the pride of Mount Pleasant, man. The man, the myth, the legend.
West side.
Right on, man. Basil Mitchell is here with us today, man. A TCU Great, very, very interesting guy. Somebody that I looked up to. And, man, I'm just glad to have you here, man.
No doubt, man. I'm excited about it.
Yes, I wanted to kind of go into, I guess, the origins of how I met you, which is through football. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to just kind of start at the beginning of your story, coming out of Mount Pleasant. How did you start to play football? Like, when did you decide this is something that I want to do? What was your first?
Man, I fell in love with the game from like birth, man. We come from a sports family. Like my mom's side, my dad's side, we like athletes. You know what I'm saying? And then we all Cowboy fans, man. It's Cowboy Sundays with family get together. Everybody, uncles, cousins, parents, everybody. We suited jerseys, Cowboy pepper. That's what the family, man. We all Cowboy fans. So
it's getting hard to be a fan, but man.
Hey. I'm down. I'm 10 toes down.
I'm getting tired of it.
Hey, listen. I used to be in the locker room when I was in Green Bay, bro. I used to be arguing about, like, I'm a Cowboy fan, dog.
But you still, yeah.
I'm arguing about who better, Emmitt Smith or Barry. I mean, like, we be in there doing it.
That's
man.
A good one. Visit that.
Yeah, but yeah. So it was like embedding me the game itself, and about 5 years old, man, I was like, man, I want to be in the NFL. I was like 5 years old. I said, I'm gonna be in the NFL.
That's real.
And I was always one of the fastest kids in the neighborhood, and it just like it kind of came natural to me, like just stepping out.
Yeah.
And just playing.
Yeah, you definitely had the wheels, man. Yeah. So at what point did you realize, like, this could really happen for me?
So the thing is, I personally never thought it wouldn't. I was delusional in that fact. Like, I thought when I said at 5 years old I'm going, I was already there in my mind. You know what I'm saying? It was just a matter of the process to me. Just getting there. But I never thought or never doubted personally that I would be there. But I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. But
man, that's very profound to hear you say that, man. Because I was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like, where does that even come from? Because some of us are just like that, and then some of us are not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna go into my story, but I had that same characteristic where it was just like, man, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, this is.
Ain't nobody finna stop me. I don't care what missteps or mishaps I may have along the way. This is what I'm finna do, and that's just what that is.
Yeah.
And we got pretty far,
Yeah.
So again, not to make that about me, but so you decided this is what you want to be. You're determined. You already have certain gifts that God just naturally gave you. You're in a family that loves the game. You get to high school, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Just the whole high school, Friday night under the lights, Texas.
Yeah.
How would you describe that?
So let me. I'll tell you the journey. So my parents, like you said, my mom was from Pittsburgh. My daddy from Mount Pleasant. So I was born in Pittsburgh, Texas.
Gotcha.
Pittsburgh, Texas. They two neighboring towns.
Yes, sir.
And they pretty, it's like, neighborhoods that be getting into it. Like, that's how the country is. Like, we getting into it with cats from Pittsburgh, and we getting into it like they fighting all the time, shooting and stuff like that. It's like that. But I'm from Pittsburgh and I'm from Mount Pleasant. So I'm in this. I'm like, I got to pass. Everywhere I go, I got to pass. I can go anywhere in East Texas because, I got family or relatives on both sides. So
you had your own day, correct?
Yeah.
Now is this still going on?
No, it was that day. It was that parade. It was an assembly. Like, they called the school. They called everybody in the school, and they presented me with a key to the city, and they designated January the 8th, Basil Mitchell Day.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was going back trying to appreciate it. I was going back trying to do something on the January 8th every day, but life happens and everything like that. And demographics change, man. Like, my school, Mount Pleasant is a different environment than when I was growing up, man.
Yeah,
But
totally understand.
But yeah, that was special, man. My high school coach, the mayor, everybody. When I became the Sun Bowl MVP, and they was like, man, we ain't, Mount Pleasant had, we had some pro athletes, but mainly they were like defensive players that had made it to the league. I was the only person that had like a starring role where like I was scoring touchdowns off face forward. And so
So the Sun Bowl, man. That game, honestly, man, I probably never told you. It was me and you talk a lot, but man, that game was what made me go to TCU. Man.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man. Y'all ripped and ran so hard that day.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they recruiting me. It's right here in town. They running the ball. I want to be where they run the ball. And I knew that you were a smaller back like me. Man, you inspired me, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you never know who watching, man. You never know who you may inspire. You never know the impact that it has. I think that you also inspired somebody who went on to have much greater success than anybody. Was LT.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for him, but just being around and conversations we had, I know you inspired him as well, man. So that's just ironic how this life thing can go, man. But that Sun Bowl performance was through the roof.
I'll tell you this, and when I got to TCU, like my senior year in high school, I led the state in touchdowns and yards per carry, but I still wasn't really a highly recruited guy.
Probably because of size.
Because of size, and you know how it is. It's Mount Pleasant. Maybe it ain't 5A football. It ain't the top, and we ain't go all the way through the playoffs. We made it to the playoffs one year. I mean, got beat in the first round.
Yeah.
But I wasn't highly recruited. But when I got to TCU, Andre Davis, Derek Cullis, Corey Woods, the guys that were older than me, they took me under their wing and they taught me the game.
Yeah.
So it was just like, coming out of high school, bro, it's like really man blocking. Like you hit the hole and you go.
Yeah. For sure.
I hadn't experienced any kind of zone blocking schemes where you had to be patient and read the hole and figure out what a hole was. Man, my whole freshman year, bro, I couldn't even get out the backfield in practice.
So this is another conversation that we've never actually had, but my experience was similar because in high school, like you said, man, it's just pure athletic ability. You're faster than everybody. You just run hard. You know what I mean? It just works out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get to college, it's a lot more mental.
Yeah.
A lot more schematics to it all.
Yeah.
X's and O's. And it did kind of hurt me initially. That very first year when I got there, I had to kind of learn to slow down and start paying attention. And believe it or not, bro, like I was just starting to watch film when I started playing. So, we had the game against Houston, 199, whatever. That was my first time really playing in college. Now I'm watching film. I'm seeing where, okay, you had 150, 180, whatever, but you left 100 yards on the field just because you wasn't, really paying attention.
Yeah.
So, man, I was learning all of these things as the injury happened, man.
Yeah.
I didn't really ever get a chance to really implement it into my game, but that's crazy, man, because made it to that point without even really understanding the position, understanding the game.
That's the next level. Like I said, I'm a student of the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I learned everything that I could in high school. Like every coach that ever coached me. Now I'm a student of the game, but I only know what you're teaching me at the time. So when we get to TCU, like I said, zone scheme, I'm running all in the back of the lineman, and you know what I'm saying, and Drayden pulling me to the side color. Nah, bro, you got to slow down, man. You got to read it. This how to read it and stuff like that. So they helped me out a lot. Not only them, the defenders. I remember like Reggie Anderson, Mike Molden, Lenoy Jones, the cats on the defense. They would say, "Look, brother, listen, man," because I remember like my first day in practice, I was running like a out route from the backfield, and I was open. I was coming across the middle. I'm clapping. They was like, bro, don't do that, because when I hear you clapping, you're bringing attention to yourself, and I'm about to knock your head off, right? So, I mean, everybody was teaching me something. I was just learning and learning. So, by the time, I became the starter, and everybody that came in, like LT, Charles Jones, Lil Ricky, y'all, I'm telling y'all, man, this is how to play the game, bro. This is how it works. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to make sure everybody know, because I ain't never been no selfish guy, man. I get mine. You know what I'm saying? If I'm I'm going to get mine.
Same here,
you know what I'm saying? I don't need to be hating on nobody else to see it. Like, no, I ain't letting nobody else in the game, man. I
love it, man. And everybody not like that.
Everybody not like it. And actually, to my detriment.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really to my detriment because if what LT did his junior year with the 1,800 yards is what me and him did together my senior year. Because
Right.
we split time half and half for the most part. I had like 180 carries. He might had 140 carries.
Yeah.
I could have easily took all those carries and got 2,000 yards that year because I had the highest average in college. I had, you know what I'm saying, based on my average, I'm still going to be, you know, like that. But I wanted to see LT play. I wanted to see Jones and them getting the game, man, because I watched, you know, I see how hard they working in practice.
Yeah.
So for me, if the game is, if it's out of hand or if I see you rocking, man, you hot, man, I'm not trying to, I'm trying to see you roll out.
You know what, man? I'm gonna try not to just go up too far off track, man. But I can just say, man, like I'm the same person, bro. And like you said, man, a lot of times, unfortunately, it doesn't pay off to be that way. And I think what we have to do, man, is just align ourselves with people that are like that.
Yeah.
That way, instead of one of us screwing each other over or whatever the case may be, it's reciprocity, man. We just try to bless each other genuinely, for real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and what you did as far as in that particular instance with LT and everything, I mean, you know, maybe it was the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I was in that situation in high school. One of my closest friends to this day, you know, he was also a great back. And like you said, man, I just never felt like, you know, he was gonna steal the shine. I was raised. I always knew whatever God got for me is for me, man. It don't do me no good to try to slow you down. Why we can't both be blessed? You know what I mean? So, man, that's a beautiful quality in you, bro. Don't let the world change that about you, man. It will. It'll try.
Trying.
Yeah,
it's trying, and that's what. I know we'll get in that later, but that's what I created the Braveheart Network about. It's about having the courage to be your authentic self and express your soul power, man, because that's what I think is unique about everybody, and that's what blesses the world. Whatever God has for you and your spirit, if you express that to us, that's what we need from you.
Absolutely.
You know, to be not to be a clone and be following after everybody else, because if we already see that, we done seen it. Show me what you talking about.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's very real, bro.
Yeah.
So we are definitely gonna go into the Braveheart thing later on, man. I love that. So you this awesome back in high school. We kind of went into TCU a little bit already, but so what made you choose TCU, or did you have a lot of options? What was the recruiting process like?
Yeah. So I was recruited. I started getting really heavily recruited, but it came later because I didn't really blow up until my senior year.
Yes, sir.
Like my junior year, my sophomore and junior year, they were average, mediocre years. My senior year, like I said, I blew up, led the state in touchdowns and yards per carry. So I started getting a lot of looks late. You know what I'm saying? So, but University of Arkansas, that was one of the first schools that really started recruiting me heavy.
And you're from East Texas,
so
that's kind of over there,
yeah. And then the SEC at this time, I mean, it's big time football, and you know, that's really where I wanted to go. I took my first college visit to Arkansas, and I mean, I fell in love with everything. The guy that recruited me, the coach that recruited me, Coach Scott Smith, man, he was he was a white guy, but he was genuine, man. He came to the house, man. He shot me straight about everything, man. He let me know how the game was going.
Yes, sir.
And one thing he told me, he said, listen, man, I don't know what Arkansas is going to do. I don't know if they're going to end up offering you or not, man. But he said, whatever you do on signing day, you make sure you got a scholarship. Don't sit around waiting on Arkansas.
That's real.
So, but I went there, man, and man, I fell in love. It was the year that they won the national title in basketball. You know, Arkansas used to be, you know, Nolan Richardson, you know, 40, whatever the full court press, man. They had Carlos Williamson, Scotty Thurman. They was balling. Yeah. And man, we went to games out there, man. When I went on my recruiting visit, man, they treated the brother right, man. I wanted to go there, but man, they had about 30 backs already on the roster.
Gotcha.
And but then I went to TCU, and when I went to TCU, man, it was like the campus, the environment was like pristine. Even though it was an older campus at the time, and you know, all the buildings we got now wasn't there, but everything that TCU had was pristine. And then I played against half of the teammates. So when I went on my recruiting, like Andre Davis, Flip Flip Washington, John Washington, Brian Collins. I played against those cats in high school. So when I went there, we already had something in common. I felt right in, and I felt at home.
Yes, sir.
My mama was living in Arlington. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying? It was like my parents had moved up here. So it was like,
It makes sense.
I felt like home. So I said, you know what, if nothing else, if all else fails, I know I'll be comfortable at TCU. I know I'll be all right at TCU. And then when Arkansas didn't offer me, Coach Sullivan called me and said, hey, we want to offer you. And Coach Nall, he was the recruiting. He recruited East Texas, and he was a D-line coach at TCU, and he was a straight shooter. I mean, he was a real straight shooter, and I loved him too. And they offered me, and I accepted because it was getting late in the game. Mm-hmm. Arkansas didn't offer me. After I signed with TCU, committed to TCU, Arkansas called me back like 2 weeks later and was like, hey man, somebody dropped out, somebody decommitted, and they going somewhere else, and we got one for you. And I was like, nah, I already made that commitment to TCU. I'm gonna stick with it.
Glad it went that way, man.
No, it turned out to be the best decision I could have made.
Absolutely, it did. And so now here you are from East Texas. Boom, you in Fort Worth, Texas, funky town. Mm-hmm. Were you staying on campus, or were you kind of course, I know you're living on campus, but are you moving around Fort Worth? Are you experiencing
the city?
Yeah.
So let me go back to something, right? So Houston, U of H recruited me too, and U of H they was on me hard, like they was offering me from jump, man. You're gonna be the starter. We want you here. Like they was really on me.
Yeah.
But it's in Third Ward, and I'm listening to Ghetto Boys and everything, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to Houston, bro. I'm not finna go down there in Houston. It's in the hood, right? Yeah. So as I done committed to TCU at this time, I'm watching Cops. Fort Worth on Cops. This is the first time I seen him get killed on Cops. I was like, shit, I didn't realize what it was. You know what I'm saying? I was like, shit, I might have should have went to the Third Ward. But when I got here, you know, I started hanging out with some cats from Fort Worth, and we going to parties and Midpoint. You mean, and then, you know what, man, the hood is the hood, but the hood is the hood everywhere, bro. So I mean, I don't really, man. At the end of the day, when you get in the environment, man, I'm not afraid of any environment, but I know how to watch myself. And so we was moving around. We was moving around the city. We moved around the city. I mean, we went to the Como Rec and won the TCU. We took a couple cats and just a pickup game when they won a rec tournament at Como basketball. Out there talking mad noise, and you know, he's like, we was in there. Yeah,
I love it, man. That's cool. Fort Worth is, you know, it can be a very nice city, and it can be rough too. And you just gotta know where to go.
Know where to go.
And then obviously, with you being from where you're from and raised, how you were raised, you know, you just go everywhere you go. You treat people with respect. Yeah. And a lot of times it works out for you. Yeah. So I'm glad that, you know, you made it through that and everything. I know, you know, we had a lot of guys from different country towns, and it was a little bit of a shock for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what made me ask you that.
So I told you, I grew up, I was born in East Texas. And when I got to kindergarten, my parents moved to Dallas. So we lived, and I went to elementary school in Dallas, in North Dallas, where like my sister graduated from Lake Highlands.
Okay, so you already had some time.
And then we like my 5th grade year, we moved from North Dallas to Oak Cliff. So I went to school in Oak Cliff for a semester, and I hated it, bro. I hated it because North Dallas was just so different than South Dallas, Oak Cliff. It was just a different environment. But I also wanted that Friday night light feel. Yeah. Like I was like growing up watching my brothers and my uncles play at Pittsburgh and Mount Pleasant. I always wanted that country ball.
Yeah. So that was cool too.
And it was cool. So I asked my parents, when I got in 6th grade, I asked my parents if I could go back to Mount Pleasant and stay with my grandparents. So I moved back to Mount Pleasant by myself.
Gotcha.
And graduated down there.
Okay, I never knew that, man.
But we was living in Oakland. My brothers, my older 2 brothers, they graduated from SOC.
Okay, okay.
So I was
where Dunbar from.
And then, and so the reason why, another reason why I moved to Mount Pleasant is they were, at the time, Maceo Smith was a high school, but it was downtown, and it was like a magnet school, and they didn't have any sports program. and they moved Maceo to my neighborhood, and I was going to have to go to Maceo. I wasn't going to get to go to SOC, and they didn't have a football program. They was just starting their football program.
Totally out of the question.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to Maceo. So that's why I was like, let me go to Mount Pleasant.
Gotcha. So boom. You make that decision, you end up at TCU. Coach Sullivan. So when I got there, of course, Coach Friend was there. Mm-hmm. So I never got a chance to meet Coach Sullivan, work under him or anything. What was that like?
Man, Coach Sullivan and R.I.P. Coach Sullivan, man, he was a great man. Like he was a really caring man. You know what I'm saying? But he was a young coach at the time, you know, like, so he had never even been a coordinator before he got that TCU job. He was like the quarterback coach at Auburn, but he knew football. He was a quarterback. But it was just like they had like the staff organization wasn't cohesive, you know what I'm saying? And he was learning how to be a head coach at the time, and he had that 1 year. Like my freshman year, we went to that bowl game, and he was turning the program around. But we also had some great athletes that were like, when I got to TCU, you had some real balls.
I was about to say, like, you know, no knock to Coach Friend at all and that staff, but they came in and won originally, and that Sun Bowl and all of that with guys that Sullivan had recruited, and a lot of y'all was still there. You weren't there, but a lot of them were still there when I got there.
Yeah.
Great athletes, man. So they were doing a great job of recruiting.
Yeah, they knew. Coach Sullivan knew talent. He knew what football players look like.
Yeah.
But like I said, now you got to organize. You got to manage the staff. You got to put those players in the right positions.
Yes, sir.
And those are the things that he was kind of figuring out. And like I said, my freshman year, bro, our offensive line, we had a first-round draft pick, 2 second-round draft picks off that line. And they were animals. They led the team, bro. And I'm like, Andre Davis was the starting running back.
Yeah,
and he was a wild dog. But that line, we talk about Emmett line, and TCU had one of those cowboy type of lines when I got here.
Yeah.
And we had a stand-up quarterback, Mac throw the ball and a good read. I mean, like we had some skills, man. We had a lot of skills on both sides of the ball, so they knew how to recruit.
Yeah.
And then if you just run the ball with those guys up there,
it's gonna work out.
It's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's gonna work.
It showed, man. I mean, like I said, that's one thing that I noticed. You know, like I said, not to take anything away from Fran and his staff. But those guys were already there. A lot of those guys were already there. We were the first class. Well, no. Turntine and that 98 and all them, Dunbar and all them was their first recruiting class, but we were the second class.
And they did a good job. But this what I'm telling you about Fran, and what I noticed about Fran when they came in was, so you know we were in the WAC, so we played New Mexico. He was the coach in New Mexico. We played New Mexico 2 years, my sophomore and junior year. Man, they beat the brakes off. They beat the brakes off us.
What would you say was the
Coach Fran and them, they put game plans together. They had talent in the right place. They didn't have as much talent as we had, but they had talent in the right place.
Yes, sir.
And they we just couldn't beat them, man. They were executing better. They like I said, they had people in the right position. So when they announced Fran as the head coach, I was like, yes.
You know,
they recruited me too in high school.
Yeah.
Coach Fran recruited me too. And I was like, I'm not going to New Mexico. Ain't nothing in New Mexico. I'm not going out there. But I was like, man, they're beating us. So I knew he was a hell of a recruiter because they had it. Who the hell was going to New Mexico? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he had some tech. They was beating us. And they had, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, he got to be a great coach. And when he got there, it proved it out. The way Coach Fran used to lay out game plans, I knew we was going to win the game before the game was played, the way he used to lay it out.
Gotcha. Yeah. He moved like he always put me in the mind of a politician.
He
moved like a politician.
He a program builder.
Yeah.
He a program builder. But this what I'll go back and say this too. Coach Fran was organized. He sold you. He made you believe. He laid it out for you. But Coach P was the brains of the operation, bro. Coach P dissecting shit. He breaking shit down.
You know what, man? And that became so evident, so clear when Fran left and went to Alabama, and Coach P stayed behind. Both great men, both
Yeah.
great coaches. I thank both of them for the opportunity
Yeah.
that they gave me personally. I don't want to say anything negative, really,
Nah.
nothing like that, but it showed.
Yeah, no,
It-
it's clear, bro. But
Yeah.
like I said, but you need that CEO type of person to lead an organization, and like I said, that's what Coach Sullivan didn't have at the time. That's
Yes,
what
sir.
Fran had. But Fran, I just didn't like the. It's just me. Like the way he treated the coaching staff. He was just a hard man.
Yeah, he was.
a hard man. And
was.
you got to be a certain kind of person to work for Coach Fran as a coach. Now he was great to the players.
Yeah.
Like Coach Fran's a good, but I just didn't like the way I seen him interacting with coaches. But that's just something I didn't know. That just wasn't my personality. I wouldn't treat people like that. It was effective though.
Yeah, it was a shock for me too.
Yeah.
It's something I had never seen
Yeah.
before. I mean, I kind of understood it,
Yeah.
especially with it being effective. We were winning games.
Yeah.
But definitely somewhat of a shock,
Yeah.
man. So that running back room, what would you say about that, man?
Hey, man, bro, that was family, bro. We was having a great time. Like everybody was pretty much always pulling for each other. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was a true brotherhood, man.
Right on,
Yeah,
right on. They kept that going, man.
Yeah,
When I got there, good vibes,
Yeah.
Man, me and LT hit it off as soon as I got there. I was
Yeah.
going up there early in the summer working
Yeah.
out, and me and him started hanging out right then. Took me under his wing, showed me everything.
Yeah.
Hey, Stoker, same way, man.
Stoke,
I always
yeah.
show love, man. So Frank Montgomery,
Yeah.
good guy. Always, I know something
Yeah.
ended up happening with Frank, but
Yeah.
as far as him as a teammate and him being there, a guy that was there before me and kind of helped me through some things, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
what I mean?
that was the one thing, man. We kept it kept it light, man. We kept it fun, but we also had this mentality that we're gonna put the work in.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Because we was 1-10. Cause when Fran got to the Sellers last year, man, we was 1-10, worst team in the country.
Damn.
And we had got off into we was just playing, man. Like nobody on the team was taking this serious. Like we playing movie game on the bus to the games and shit. We not focused, bro, at all. We ain't, because Coach Sullivan and them had got fired midway through the season. So he's a lame duck coach. They trying to find jobs, you know what I'm saying? They really wasn't.
They there, but
they
not
there,
really
but
there.
they not really there. You know what I'm saying? So they done lost the locker room, and we had no real leadership to step in and say, guys, let's pull this together and do something with it. Because we actually could have won probably about 4 or 5 games that year.
So I imagine some guys probably some guys with NFL level talent probably got lost in the shuffle in some of that.
They did, man.
Yeah.
It was and I talked to Chance was one of the lead. Chance McCarty was one of the lead. That was his senior year. Shout out to Chief. He was the one. He was the one that was trying to galvanize everybody. Man, listen, man, let's do it. The cats, drinking, smoking, not really paying, not coming to work out. Chief would be on people's butt, man, because of that. You know what I'm saying?
He definitely always have had that.
Rally troop, man, y'all bull corning, man. We trying to make it. Everybody out here trying to eat.
Yeah.
And we need everybody. And anybody that was slacking, he was on their head. But man, we just had no overall leadership, and he ended up saying, "Man, I just gotta get mine." And he ended up, getting his, getting that opportunity. But had we pulled it together that year, that team was more talented than the next year team. The Sun Bowl team, my junior year's team was more talented than the Sun Bowl
Less
team.
talented, but better coached.
Better coach, and we were in it. This was our senior year. My group of seniors: Joe Phibbs, Greg Davis, Andre Bruce. Marcus Anderson, we was like, bro, we gonna go out here and win, man. We bought into what Coach Fran was selling to us, and we said, it's no way we gonna go out here like we just went out this last year. So we was always trying to make sure everybody was engaged. We wanted to keep everybody engaged with what the process was, and that means the freshmen, the walk-ons, everybody. So we made sure that we talked to everybody, we kept everybody engaged, and they can, LT, they continue that. It's we gotta keep everybody engaged.
I definitely felt that when I got there, man. And that was a blessing for me.
Yeah.
So what would you say about your career prior to the Sun Bowl game? what are some of your biggest games? What was your biggest game outside of that? Because I think you had some bigger games
than the Sun Bowl. Yeah. Man.
Or was that the biggest performance?
That was the biggest stage.
Okay.
That was the biggest stage. We did play my very first start my sophomore year. We played OU in Norman on ABC on national TV, and I scored my first touchdown. Caught like a 50-yard swing out of the backfield and took it the distance and stuff like that. So that was my first national stage against a power opponent.
Yes,
and at the time they really weren't that good, but it's still OU.
It's
on TV.
Yeah.
So that was my coming out.
Yeah.
So I jumped on the scene like okay.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I was really just consistent. I wasn't really doing nothing big. I was just consistent.
Yeah.
And then that senior year, when Fran and them came in, the very first game of the season against Iowa State, we went up to Ames. I ripped off 180 and 3 touchdowns on them.
Yeah.
And that just kind of got me rolling.
Because their talent was there all along. The system probably was a better fit for you.
The system was better. It was a better fit for me. And also, I had a lot of injuries too. I was always banged up.
Yeah.
Hamstring or something like that. And Coach Wainwright had become our strength and conditioning coach. And they did a lot of tweaking with me. So I had scoliosis. I have scoliosis and lordosis, so I got back problems.
Yes, sir.
And I've had them since Little League. And Coach Wainwright figured out a training program to really get me in the best shape I'd ever been in. That senior year coming in that Sun Bowl season.
I mean, you always just look nifty, like you always make nifty moves to me, man. You know what I mean? And see, I was a kid that I studied running backs, like literally, like I locked in on every run, you know what I'm saying? And I always liked backs like you because I was always afraid that I would be small too.
Yeah.
Coming out of high school, I'm like 175 on a good day.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, but, the weight kind of came on pretty quick once I got to TCU and everything. But, I just always noticed, like, man, he got the moves, man. I always was watching, man.
Yeah.
And so, again, I just want you to know, man, you were an inspiration for me. So you, your whole career, all your years added in together, where are you on the rankings as far as TCU rushing when you leave?
When I leave, I'm the 4th all-time leading rusher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 4th.
And that's a very stout career.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Swink, I passed him. He's a legendary TCU back, man, and I passed him. He was at 4, and I passed him, and that was a big accomplishment for me. Obviously, you got Dre Davis had ended up. Did Dre get? I don't think Dre got it, but Kenneth Davis was number 1. Then he had Tony Jeffries. You know what I'm saying? And those guys, I knew I wasn't gonna get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't gonna get there. So Jim was my shot. And you know what I'm saying? I had mad respect for all of those backs. I ended up passing Curtis Mockins. Coach Mockins, who is my frat brother, he was a TCU back he's like 6 years ahead of me. But Coach Mockins was on the staff. He came back and he was a GA at TCU.
Yes,
so I learned a lot from Kurt too.
Yes, sir.
Kurt right now, where Kurt at? Detroit linebacker. Like he'll coach in
Is this Jeremy's?
The Jeremy brother.
Okay.
The Jeremy brother.
I don't know where he is. I just know he's coaching.
Yeah. So I got a lot of encouragement. I got a lot of insight from people like from Kurt because he was there, man. So passing Jim was huge for me.
Man, one thing you just said I wanna highlight real quick is the benefit that it was for you to have them there, pouring that information, pouring that extra attention to detail, just helping you wherever you may need help along the way. Man, that's so valuable, man, and I just don't think that a lot of people understand that. You know what I mean? And when people receive that and then they go on to do great things, I wonder how often do people reach back or even look back and acknowledge those things?
Are you talking about the people that impart the wisdom or the people that, That I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been really fortunate in that aspect and everywhere in my career. Like when I went to Green Bay, man, Dorsey Levens and William Henderson, man, like the backs on like these Super Bowl champion dudes, man, they taking time with me.
Yeah.
To helping me to understand even better the game, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
I've just everywhere I've been blessed in that aspect of somebody pouring into me. But I'm listening though. I'm coming to listen. I'm trying to learn.
Yeah, yeah, that's real, man. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's humility. And so Green Bay. So you finish up at TCU. You have a really good career. How do you end up in Green Bay?
So, man, this is crazy, but growing up, I was a Miami Hurricane fan. I grew out the U. I was a fan of the U all the way coming up.
Yeah.
And Alonzo Highsmith and Melvin Bratton, they were the running backs at Miami when early when I first started watching them. Alonzo Highsmith played with the Houston Oilers. He played with a couple other teams, played with the Cowboys, but he had about a 7-year NFL career. And through injury and other stuff, he exited the game, but he became a scout for Green Bay. And that was his very first year as a scout. And he had Texas area because he lived in Houston and everything. So he come up, man, and I'm excited, man. He's telling me, he said, man, you can play. He said, I'm watching film. He said, he told me, he said, I don't care what your coaches are saying about you. I'm looking at you, you can play. And that sparked me. It's like, well, what are they? I wonder what the hell they saying about me. If he's saying,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but he's like, yeah, I don't care what nobody say about you, bro. He said, you're a legit baller. And that meant a lot for me. And they fought, like he literally fought for me. Because I didn't get to go to no combine. I wasn't even that high rank where I even got to go to the combine.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So everything, it was just the workouts that they came to TCU, and we didn't have no top guys, so it wasn't a lot of scouts even coming to see us. We didn't have no major recruits. Yeah. Top prospects. But just the local scouts that have this area, they gonna come show up because it's their job.
Yeah.
But he got to watching film and watching me, and he's like, bro, you can play this game, man. He said, I believe in you. And Alonzo, man, he fought for me. He went in that war room in Green Bay, and Sherm Lewis was the offensive coordinator. And he told Sherm about me, and they watched film, and they looked at me and everything. They was like, yeah, man, we like this cat. I said, we're going to try to get this dude here. And they was planning on drafting me, but I don't know if like the war room in the NFL, like everybody's trying to lobby for the person that they think it is, even the defensive coaches.
Yeah.
And Damon Parker, who was running back at OU.
Yeah, I remember.
And he came out early. DP, man. DP was cold, bro. DP, and that's my boy, man. We still holler today, man.
I watched him too.
Yeah, DP was, man, he's one of the fastest people I ever seen on the field. Like when you get the ball in his hands, DP be going. So, but DP, like he was OU, and he had ended up being like one of the top all-time leading rushers in OU history. And they lineage of backs. They got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And our general manager, Ron Wolf, was an OU alum. You know what I'm saying? So it was the battle between, they was like, man, half the staff wanted to get DP, but Sherm and Lonzo was like, man, we need to get Davis. But this is what I be trying to tell these young cats. DP go out there and drive 4.3, 4.2, like nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm a clean cut kid.
Yeah.
Bro run 4.2.
He rolled around like
yeah. So it's like defensive coaches was like, man, we don't know how to scheme for that dude. That dude is legit fast. So that's the kind of dichotomy that be in the war room.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But coach, like I said, Alonzo is a back, and he recognized the nuances and the things that I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm running 4.5 for the scouts.
Yeah.
And I'm small.
Yeah.
You say, what do you really have to offer, bro? We can go find a 4.5 guy running 4.5 and 200 pounds anywhere.
And that's one of the things about the position, man. It's like when you really, really know the game, and you really know the position. Don't get me wrong, speed is definitely important, man. But some guys just just got it.
You got it, man.
You know what I mean?
You got it.
You know, it's not. None of it is really measurable.
Yeah.
The only way it's really measurable is on the tape and on the production.
On the production,
yeah. So I got that. I saw that in you.
Yeah. But yeah, he fought for me, man. And so I was studying the draft the whole time, like how draft works and everything. So, and the Cowboys wanted me too. So, Coach Robinson, who was he was with Coach Sullivan's staff, and he was another one of my frat brothers. He was a receiver coach at TCU. When when Coach Sullivan and them got fired, he ended up going to the Cowboys because he had a relationship with Chan Gailey. He played for Chan Gailey in college. So he became a special assistant at the Cowboys. So he was telling the Cowboys about me too. So the Cowboys was on me too. So I could have went to the Cowboys, I could have went to Green Bay.
Gotcha.
And
man, B. Mitch in Dallas, that would have been cool.
That was my dream, bro. I always I grew up, man, and wanted to put the star on my head. That was my dream. It was like the NFL, but it was like I want to be a Cowboy. Tony Dorsett is my favorite running back of all time. Still to this day. Yeah. Like when people ask me who my favorite is, TD. Is he the greatest running back? No, but he's my favorite running back to this day.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So to go to have an opportunity to go play and be a Cowboy, like you told you how my family is about the Cowboys, when I broke down the game and the business of the game, Cowboys was already talking about putting me on practice squad because they had Emmitt Smith and they still had Chris Warren. They had traded for Chris Warren from Seattle, and Chris Warren was a Pro Bowl guy backing up Emmitt Smith. Yeah. So they was like, man, we're going to put you on developmental squad and give you a year or so to, And I was like, Dorsey Levens was the only back on Green Bay roster that had any kind of experience, and I was like, my best chance to make a roster is to go to Green Bay. Even though I didn't want to go to Green Bay, I wanted to go to Cowboys. And my agent almost tried to talk me out. He was like, man, you sure you want to go to Green Bay?
Yeah, I would have too.
I was like, man, looking at this landscape, man, I got to go. And so they drafted DP, but they drafted him in the 5th round. So I know how the slot was. So my mindset was like, if they draft DP on the first day, I'm probably just gonna go to Dallas because they invest that kind of money in, and they're gonna give him every opportunity to make the team, and I'm probably not gonna really get an opportunity. Yeah. But I was like, if they drafted 5th on down, I'm gonna go compete with him.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of I was like, they fought for me, and they called me, man. Zoe called me like right before they was finna select DP. He said, hey man, listen, they finna select Damon Parker, and that we lost out in the war room, but man, they're gonna offer you to come to camp. They're gonna offer you a free agent contract if you want to take it. And I was like, bet, I'm there. I hung up the phone. I looked at my family and said, I'm a Packer. At the time, I don't understand free agency. I don't understand but from I'm a Green Bay Packer. I done made the squad. That's my mindset at the time. Like I'm here.
Yeah, nah, man, that's believing. That's believing, man. That's faith. That's what carried us through a lot. So when your time was up in the NFL, how did that all come about? The last, like the ending part of it.
So the ending part is I got I had. I'm gonna go back to. I broke my toe in the Sun Bowl game. I broke my toe in the Sun Bowl game, and that's the reason why I didn't break the Sun Bowl record. I was like 9 yards away from breaking the rushing record for the Sun Bowl, but I broke my toe like in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
And we was winning big anyway, so the LT was in, and C. Jones, they was letting other people run, but they was trying to get me the record. So I went back into the game to try to get the record, and I realized, man, I can't run, man. So, but we thought it was just turf toe. So nobody really looked at it. So this whole time I'm training for the scouts and trying to get on it. I'm on a broken. I think I just got turf toe. I don't really know that I got a broken toe.
That's deep.
So I played my whole rookie season and do all this on a broken toe. I'm taking all kind of Toradol, all kind of pain medicine on this toe just to play.
That probably changed things too, man.
It changed things majorly because like my rookie season, I was placed on the Pro Bowl ballot because I led the team in special teams tackles and return yards, and I ended up I was the backup. DP was 3 and I was 2, So I worked my way into playing. I started 2 games too, and I was like a fan favorite in Green Bay. They loved me and everything. So after the season, I'm like, you know what? I gotta look at this toe, man, because I can't keep taking these damn drugs like this, man.
Yeah.
You know, to play. So they go in, they find out it's broken, and I have major reconstructive toe surgery. The same toe surgeon and the same doctor that did Dion. You remember Dion had that toe?
Oh yeah.
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 The same doctor did mine that did his.
Wow.
It's like an ACL, it's a reconstruction.
And when people, you know, I remember when Dion was going through all of that, people were so insensitive because they didn't really understand the game, understand the human anatomy. Bro, you can't go nowhere without your toe, man.
Dude.
You can't be out here playing, running, changing direction. You can't do nothing really without your toe.
Yeah.
People was like, oh man, it's just a toe. Bro, you can't go nowhere without that toe.
Listen, this dude playing DB, he can't cut when he want to cut.
He got to cut when
he got to
receiver.
Dude, I was like, man, Deion Sanders is the greatest football player ever.
Seriously, man.
When you think about with his man.
Yeah.
When I had my, cause I was like, I could kind of make cuts when I wanted to. I stay off the toe a little bit, you know, but I was like, man, Deion is covering people like that. I said, that dude's the greatest.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real, bro.
But yeah, so when I come back after that surgery, and the next year, my second year, I come back early because it's really a 6-month recovery. It's just like an ACL. Mm-hmm. So I come back because we get a new coaching staff after my rookie year. So it's a brand. So I got to prove myself again to the whole new coaching staff. So I get out there, come to camp. Really still not ready, really not healthy, but I got to try to make the team.
Yeah.
And but I start having all kind of little compensation injuries here and there, strain here, strain this, that, trying to stay off this toe. Mm-hmm. And I strained my patella, and I missed a couple games, and our 2 starting cornerbacks got hurt, and they needed to pull up somebody from the practice squad and sign somebody else to come play corner, you know. So they needed my roster spot, even though I wasn't out for the season, but they needed my spot because I was hurt at the time.
Yeah.
So they came to me and said, hey, Basil, listen, let us cut you, and we're going to bring you back later because we need to get these corners up. And I'm like, nah, bro. I'm not really understanding the business like that, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to let y'all cut me because I don't really trust that y'all going to bring me back like that. I'm just going to be out there. So Mike Sherman's the head coach, and like I said, I'm like a special teams captain. So Mike came to the locker room. He came to the training room one day, said, let me talk to you. And he said, I need you to play this week. I said, I know you need her, and I know whatever, man. I need you out there. I was like, Mike, I said, man, I can't really put no pressure on it like that. I don't feel stable, man. He's like, so you're not going to play? I said, I can't go today. He said, you ain't playing. I said, no. He said, and they walked off. I said, it's over. That's a wrap.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it was. But like in the NFL, if you're injured, they can't cut you. They can't cut you. Yeah. So what they try to do is, like, if you come to practice or suit up and they get you on film anywhere practicing, then you ain't hurt. So they can cut you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they kept trying to get me to go, you ready to go to practice? You going to practice today? Nah, yeah, I ain't practicing today, bro. So I had a Vince Workman, who was running back from Ohio State. You might remember Vince back in the day. He was our assistant strength coach. I had a good relationship with him. And I said, hey, Vince, man, I started feeling better. And I was like, I'm going to try to go to practice today and try to get back in there. And I said, hey, Vince, keep an ear on the ground for me, man, in case they're going to try to cut me if I go out here on this field. And the day I was going to go to practice, Vince called me and said, hey, B. Mitch, if you go out there on that field today, they're going to cut you. And I said, I went back in the training room and said, no, I'm not feeling good, man. I'm not feeling good, so I'm not going to go out there. And finally, man, they was like, we need that roster spot because we got to get these corners. We need it, man. We going to have to sign an injury settlement with you, and then we can release you.
Well, now that's fair.
That's fair.
Exactly.
But that messed up my relationship with the coach because now it's like, oh, he ain't trying to play. He just trying to sit back and get these checks. So now it's like he ain't committed to really playing because football, you gotta play hurt. You gotta play hurt. To a certain extent.
Yeah.
They expecting you to go out there and play. because it's only 53 men on the roster.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And they need all hands on deck. And if you ain't all hands on deck, then we got to find somebody else.
And I get it. It's a business.
It's a business.
You know, and so, you know, that's really unfortunate. A lot of us, you know, have gone through that, man. That's a whole nother segment that we're going to do, man, like the trauma from that. You know, so a lot of guys had a lot of really, really traumatic experiences from the high school level, college, and pro, ending in injuries, ending in other things as well. So that's something that we're going to talk about. Do you miss the game?
No, I don't miss the game. I'm still very much a fan of the game. I'm engaged. I've always loved the game just for the sheer chess match of it, just to see people trying to strive and win. So I love the game, man. I'm not trying to play, bro. I ain't nobody. I don't miss playing at all.
It's kind of, when I asked that question, because I'm kind of ashamed to even say this, man, but like the feeling that I felt when I was playing ball, the adrenaline, the anxiety, and the positive anxiety, the rush of it all, man, I never felt that again. I never felt anything even close. I don't know if I ever really loved anything else. You know what I'm saying? And so I won't say that I missed the game in a way like it impedes progress or you know, stops me from moving forward with life or anything like that. But I've never experienced that feeling and that high again. You know what I mean? I've tried a lot of things, not really drugs, but I've tried a lot of things, and you know, nothing really does it for me like that.
It's nothing like it. I mean, it's nothing like it, bro. I played the game. This is the one reason why I played the game. I played the game to be liked. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to fit in. And that's what people showed me love for, because they like that. They love seeing me play, and they would cheer for me.
Athletes popular.
That's what I play for. And you get into a stadium where there's 80,000, 100,000 people cheering for you, bro. That's a high that you get. Where else can you get that unless you on stage? Rapping or singing, it's an adrenaline rush, bro.
It is. Who knows, man? Maybe that's what led me into music. You know, I did music too.
And you're good at it. You're good at it.
But I never felt the way about music that I felt about. You know what I mean?
I try to tell people this: football athletes we're creatives too. Like you know, whether you're singing, writing, drawing, or you're a dancer. That creativity is the same creativity I'm using on the football field. Like if to sprint 70 yards full speed and cut and catch a ball with one hand laid, that's choreography. That's art. That's creativity. To shake somebody in the hole, man. Your mind, you
just made a way out of no way.
You just made a way out of no way, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're all creative. So a lot of times we're drawn to creative things, and especially we have multi-talents, man. We can do that. We can write. We can draw.
That's so real, man.
You know what I'm saying? We're creative people.
Yeah, for sure. And man, I don't know what we gonna do, man, because we ain't even got to the real meat and potatoes of this. So after the game, you know, football's over with. You know, we know you're married, man. At what point do you become a father?
So I'm a father in college.
Okay.
Yeah, I had my daughter. My oldest daughter was born the summer going into my senior year at TCU.
Did that slow anything down, or?
It didn't slow anything down, but yeah, it didn't slow anything down. And I tell this, and I tell my daughter now, she's 26, she's a college graduate, graduated from College Station A&M. She English teacher now, and I mean she's doing well for herself. I wasn't a good father at the time. I was pursuing my dream,
which is understandable. But that's real of you to look at it that way. But man, you was trying to make a way.
I was trying to make a way, and that's the only way I knew. I was like, if I can go make this happen, I can set her up, you know, for the rest of her life. And I was really focused on that. But actually being there on a day-to-day basis, I wasn't there. Like I kind of regret that I wasn't there like that. It was motivation, though. It was motivation for me to continue this dream that I knew I had a life to support in some kind of way. But I just didn't know how. I didn't know how at the time.
Yes, sir. So the game is over. You're now dad, now family man. How do you get to the point of the Braveheart Network, which is your nonprofit organization, right?
Yeah.
Okay, explain to me real quick what that's about, what the mission statement is.
So Braveheart Network is a community development corporation. So our mission is to educate, inform, and inspire Black people to take an active role and be active participants in the redevelopment and reconstruction of Black communities.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
so
That's very much needed, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I preface that because what I identify as the Black community is like any zip code that where the majority of the people identify as Black or African American. So if the population of the majority of people in those communities are Black.
Yes, sir.
Whether you live in a Black community or not, because I don't live in a Black community. I live in a white community. Like it's only 10% Black. But I know the inner city. That's what these zip codes, what we call the inner city. So it's like going back to the hood and then being a participant and trying to put back infrastructure and not just programs, but things that those kids and those people need to thrive. And that's what we're doing. And I'm trying to inspire people that are no longer or have never lived in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
To go back and take a real look at these environments that these people are growing up in, and there's things that we can do to change it. And first of all, those environments are not like that. They're like that on purpose.
Exactly.
The system creates those environments.
Absolutely. Man, that's beautiful work that you're doing. It's obviously needed. It's obviously necessary. I got similar type of things going on, so I'm sure at some point we'll be able to assist one another along the way. Also, man, Full Ride.
Yeah.
So that's a book. It's not out yet.
Not out yet.
You're still working on it.
I'm still working on it.
Full Ride. Explain what that's about. What your intentions were, and what inspired that.
Yeah. So Full Ride. About when I left the league, man, I was really depressed for about 10 years, bro, and I was just struggling trying to adjust to life without playing football and getting a job or what. I mean, I just had no real direction. And the NFL put on that first ever career transition program for players that are exiting the league or had been out of the league. And it was only supposed to be for people that had been out of the league 5 years or less. I had been out 10 by that time, but I called them. I said, man, look, I'm struggling. I need to figure out something else to do. And they said, no, come on down, man. Come on down here. And they put me in the program. It was about 20 other former NFL players that was transitioning too. And we got to talking amongst ourselves. And they know, like Donovan Darius, who was a all-pro safety for Jacksonville Jaguars and played for some other teams. We was in this session with a psychologist, and he basically raised his hand and admitted, man, I'm struggling mentally. I'm struggling with this transition. I don't know. I can't get right. And every brother in there was like, me too, me too. And then we started having dialogue about that. And then it freed me to let me know that there was nothing really wrong with me, because I really thought something was wrong with me, man. I was really depressed. So I left there and I wrote this book. I wrote a manuscript because I was like, the information that she gave us about transitioning, I was like, you'd have had to give me this before I hit high school. But by the time I hit high school, my mind was already on sports and I wouldn't have taken it in right. So I said, I'm going to write this book and give everybody the game of how to really maximize college, because I left college. I fourth all-time leading rusher, Sun Bowl MVP. I left TCU with no degree and debt off a Full Ride.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that is definitely pertinent information. So we're going to have to revisit that.
Let's do it, man.
We're going to have to really do a segment that's primarily about all of that, because that's just very important information. So our time has ended.
Yeah.
Man, I greatly appreciate you joining me today, man. And, man,
we'll do it again, man.
Much respect, man. Keep doing everything that you're doing, man. I appreciate you being who you are, and everything that you got going on. And we'll revisit this, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Love, my bro.
Yes, sir. King Talk.
King Talk.
Today's episode of King Talk is brought to you by One of 100, exclusive clientele, custom apparel.